So this is Hadish Kebabtu, I think. I'm not very good with full names, but Hadish Kebabtu from Ethiopia. You'll know him because he's the chap behind the Epping Beau hotel protest that went on for quite a while, as you'll remember. In fact, I've got a photo of that. Here we go. The Beau Hotel in Epping.
This was the one that was right next to a school, correct?
Yes. Yes, and the individual in question was a bit naughty, and we go through that why, which caused all of these people to come out who were immediately branded as far right and thugs, and all the rest of it. As you can see here, they're just an ordinary bunch of people, mostly concerned mothers. But no, that didn't stop them from being smeared relentlessly in the press all summer for being far-right racist thugs. So, what's the story with old Hadish Kebabtu here, or however you pronounce it? I might be butchering that. So
who cares?
Yes, good point. On the 29th of June of this year, he arrived in a small boat. By the 7th of July, he was committing offences.
So less than a fortnight.
Yes. On the 7th of July, he made sexual assault on a 14-year-old girl in school uniform. And we will see a little bit later his comments on his version of events of what happened. It's comically bad. Well, it's not comical, but it is his version of what went down there. The following day, he made the same advances on the same girl, spotting her coming out of school again. A sexual assault on a woman who tried to intervene. So, yes, not a particularly glorious start to his time in our hospitality. Later that same day, at 5 o'clock, he is arrested. I'll give you footage of the arrest there. A few days later, the protests begin outside the hotel because, quite understandably, local parents are not wildly happy about housing sexual predators in their midst next to a school, which immediately results in the national press branding them all as far-right thugs, as we have mentioned. Now, come later July, the local council, in a surprise act of actually giving a damn about their local citizens, which is not the sort of thing you expect, applied for an injunction to have this Beau Hotel closed down, or at least remove the asylum seekers from it.
Well, only under pressure. They didn't do it of their own free volition, out of conviction.
Yes, good.
It was only because there was loads of pressure.
Yes,
on
fair
them
point
to do it.
Yes. But even so, it is still quite remarkable where even under pressure, any public authority in Britain gives a damn about the English people. Judge Stephen Eyre, something like that, granted an injunction against it and ordered the removal of the asylum seekers, at which point the Court of Appeal came in and they overturned the injunction, allowing the asylum seekers to remain at the Beau Hotel. And their reasoning, I think we must have covered this at the time. It wouldn't be surprised if one of you two were the ones that covered this. But their reasoning was that the national interest in asylum housing outweighs concerns of local sexual assaults.
I believe the wording that was used by the judge was that it was better to maintain the status quo.
Yes.
The status quo being young girls being assaulted.
Quite, yes. And he said that the courts must avoid giving weight to citizens because as it would incentivise further protests, because of course no one else is going to want a bunch of sexual predators and immigrants living in their area either. And if you let it in one place, then it's going to happen all over the place. I mean, that bit of logic I can't fault. It's just evil and wrong.
Was that the judge that was a Fabian?
Well, we perhaps don't have time to get into his early life section, and
there are certain characteristics that wouldn't surprise you, but still,
yes, and his political background. But yes, there's a bit of Fabian links thrown in there as well.
Was that?
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
You can look into him in your own time.
Yes. So effectively, the needs of the asylum seekers outweighs the needs of concerned local parents and schoolgirls trying to get to school. Why I'm mentioning this now is because this chap Hadish Kebabtu has been sentenced. He's going to get 12 months custodial sentence. But of course, 12 months custodial sentence does not actually mean 12 months custodial sentence, not in this country, because that's going to be less any time that he's already served. And then the 40% rule will apply, which will mean he'll be out in about 3 months, so by Christmas.
Right.
Yes.
And then not deported?
Well, if he could self-deport.
Right.
And he has expressed to his solicitor that that is his current intention, to self-deport afterwards. Because, of course, he hasn't seen much of the UK so far. He was only here for a few days before he was arrested. So if he had spent more time at the hotel, of course, he would have received all those lovely pamphlets that they get, saying these are all the benefits you're entitled to, and this is how you go about claiming a house. And this is how you make it impossible for yourself to deport.
Operation Scatter will be putting you in somebody's neighbourhood soon enough anyway.
Yes, so he hasn't had a chance to see all of that material, but no doubt these organisations probably work inside prisons. So, or if not, he'd be speaking to other people in prison and be like, "Yeah, you got a good thing here. You don't want to go back."
Didn't get much of a chance to, see Lincoln Cathedral and Stonehenge.
No, he wasn't inspired by the rich culture of the nation or anything.
The thing that I get from this is that how quickly he started his sex crime.
Yes.
Was that it says to me that that's why he was here. It's one of the reasons why he was here, is to do that.
I think that's a sound observation.
And the fact that he wants to go back now, I guess, to his country of origin, back to, is it Ethiopia, you say?
Yes.
That, well, the pickings are easier there for him, so he thought he could get away with it here. That's what he'd probably heard on the grapevine.
Yes.
And the fact that he can't, well, may as well go home then.
I mean, in terms of real consequences, he basically has gotten away with it.
Oh, of course.
And if he chooses not to leave the country of his own volition, then let's think through the logic, judging by other cases that we've seen of similar things. Well, now he is being convicted of a sexual assault charge. He has gone to prison. So the likelihood would be that were he to return to his own country, that might put a target on his back.
Well, actually, there is a...
Therefore,
yes.
The human rights grounds for not deporting him will be, well, we have to keep him in this country now, because otherwise they might put him in prison or give him the death penalty.
Yes, actually, GB News interviewed an immigration lawyer on the subject, and he said, well, now that he's a convicted sex criminal, Ethiopia will almost certainly refuse him. And then that's it.
All right.
So that's fine. That he just has to stay now. That's how it is. I'm also going to mention. I won't give it a lot of time, but it's worth pointing out this chap. I think he's the one on the right, and his adorable wife here. This is the Muslim chap who attacked somebody with a knife outside a consulate in London because that man was criticising Islam, and he came at him knife, screaming, "I'm going to kill you," hacking at him with a blade. He's escaped all sentence. So basically the precedent has been set that if somebody is insulting a Muslim's faith, attacking them with a knife leads to no consequences whatsoever.
Wait, so this post here says spared jail. Yeah, what you're saying is not even convicted of anything.
Well, he got a deferred sentence.
No, he was convicted, but his sentence was suspended.
Yeah, that's the one. Suspended sentence. Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are they going to do? Put the protester in prison instead? Probably.
Yes.
No, he did.
Yeah, actually, yes. Yes. That's what they did. That is what they did.
So one Muslim in London burning a Quran, another Muslim attacks him with a knife. The knife wielder doesn't go to prison, and the Quran burner does.
Yes.
Neither individual should really be here at all.
So, I mean, that's a point, and I think you might cover the Trump speech later on. One of the bits he mentions in that is we're operating under Sharia law in this country. Well, no, in the sense that we haven't passed the Sharia law of 2025 bill through Parliament, but effectively we've got there through decisions like this. So that's worth pointing out. So it's just worth remembering. Lucy Connolly, a tweet that Starmer didn't like, 30 months in jail. Hadash Kebab 2, whatever, 12 months, which will actually be 4 months, maybe 3. This guy, suspended sentence. and Ricky Jones, the black Labour councillor who was calling for people to have their throats slit. No, he got off as well. So that's where we are. Let's have a quick look at the BBC coverage, are we? Because we've got this delightful little arrest video where we get to see this chap, in his own words, explain what was going on. And bear in mind, this is the type of person that our government is supporting to the tune of $6 billion a year. And we have 4,000 immigration lawyers making sure that we get as many of these people as possible and none of them ever go back. Let's hear from him, shall we?
It's now 17:50 and I'm arresting you on suspicion of sexual assault on a female under 16 years old. So you didn't have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you didn't mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, okay? We're arresting you for prompt and effective investigation by means of interview and prevent harm to yourself or others. Okay?
No problem.
So give us 2 minutes, we'll just put a few things out and then we're going to start getting rid of a few people. So
How much minutes?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Well, I'll
How much minutes?
What do you mean, how much we need?
How much minutes in the office? How many minutes on how many hours are in the office?
You go to the police station now.
Okay.
So you're under arrest.
Wow.
should we do research?
Yeah, do you want to jump out? I'm going to cuff you as
No,
well.
I'm not telling you that.
Jump out for me.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Jump out for me, it's easier.
Pocket bag, yeah, for anything.
Jump up, stand up.
Okay.
Put your hands like this for me.
Okay. Thank you.
The excuse is coming.
And just come and
Pop
step
that in there
onto
for me, sir.
Okay, she is right. The
Give me
phone.
1
Yeah.
second, I'll call you
She
back.
is right. The phone
Yeah,
number.
put that in there. The lady in blue.
Yes, the lady. Yeah.
He thinks it's
She's
the lady
drinking,
in blue.
and I pass. Please call me. You are black man. You are coming, man. You are coming my home.
It's a child.
Yeah.
child.
Just coming, man.
So the allegation is that you've touched a child on the
I am
inside of
very
the groin.
disappointed. I am a teacher.
Come over here, I need to search you. Don't cry, it's going to be okay. Come step onto the pavement so I've got a little bit more,
We're just gonna do
bit more room.
search.
You can leave your shoes on, it's okay. Step onto the pavement here. No, stand up. Stand.
Up. There we go.
And then towards me.
Watch.
Follow.
Showing him how to step onto the curb, yes. So after sexually assaulting this 14-year-old girl, his excuse is that she came out of school, immediately got drunk, saw him and said, "You black man, you come to my house."
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
The jury found that was not a credible defence. They didn't believe that. I suppose he had to make an attempt to defend himself. Of course,
I think the thing there was as well, just like he seemed like he was having fun at first.
yes.
He was smiling and kind of joking along with them. He didn't care. And then he starts to think, oh, there might be consequences to this, and he just flips.
To be fair, a lot of third worlders, when they've been caught out, they do give you that sort of shit-eating grin where they just smile through it and hope it's going to be okay. That is a thing.
But then also, like, it's like a child.
Yes.
It's literally like the thought process and mind of a child.
There may be a
being caught
reason
doing
for that. I'm not sure we can go
Everything
into
about it is alien. He can barely speak English at all. Attempting to cry and then just stopping and throwing his sandals off, kneeling down, not understanding
yes.
how to step up a curb. It's just, this is an alien person who doesn't belong in this country.
Yes. We must turn our mind, of course, to the victims of this crime, and the judge did exactly that. He turned his mind to the victims, and so what? Because you know they do those victim impact statements. So let's have a look at what the judge's concerns was. The judge was concerned that the impact of his offences would have on the other asylum seekers at the Beau Hotel.
Oh.
So we are thinking about the real victims here, the other asylum seekers. That's nice. I'm glad that they did that.
And just this is a point I'll get on in my segment as well. This man would be the exact same person if he had come through some safe asylum route as well. Just getting on the boat and using that method to get over here doesn't suddenly do... There's no alchemical process of crossing the channel that turns you into a kiddie fiddler. These people are the same no matter what process they use.
Well,
to get
whether they're the 50,000 that come by boat, the 100,000 that comes on the back of the lorries, or the one, or at least a number of the 1 million that come in through perfectly legal routes that the Home Office allows. That is all. Of course, our shitlibs have egg on their face for this. Kevin Maguire pointing out, there's no paedophiles or rapists inside this hotel. Well, I mean, there is. I mean, that's been proven.
There's at least one.
Yes, very minimal one.
I think there was another one, was there not? But anyway.
Yeah. I think you might be right, and I didn't look into that on this one. So let's talk about Hadush Kebabtu. So apparently he was an Ethiopian sports teacher. Now he left Ethiopia and he travelled through the Sudan, through Libya, across the Mediterranean, through Italy and France before arriving in the UK. Now, the rules are you're supposed to stop at the first safe country you come to, and he's travelled through at least 3. And I'd actually point out that Ethiopia is actually more stable and safe than Libya and Sudan. So he crossed through 2 countries that are more dangerous than the country he started in, then went through 2 safe countries before coming here. Ethiopia, I mean, well, put it this way, this is the number of flights going to Ethiopia. This is not an unsafe country. They have functional courts and government and all the rest of it. These are just flights from London to Ethiopia today. Not an unsafe country, not somewhere if this was an unsafe country, there would not be dozens of flights going there every single day.
The Foreign and Commonwealth Office aren't advising people not to travel to Ethiopia.
No, they're not.
Probably advising not to go to Sudan.
Yes, fair point.
Which is a war zone.
Well, that would be reasonable, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't check.
So to go from a safe country to here for who knows what reason.
Yes.
He decided I'm going to pass through at least one war zone because I'm in such danger teaching children here.
Yes. The 2022 Nationalities and Border Act, which was passed post-Brexit, gives the authorities the powers to treat claims as inadmissible if they're passing through a safe third country, of which, of course, Italy and France would qualify. So he's not... So we can just treat his asylum claim as simply illegitimate, inadmissible, and immediately remove him. Except, of course, we can't because we don't have any return agreements with any countries. And in this case, as the immigration lawyer, which I didn't play, pointed out, Ethiopia will just say, well, no, he's a sex criminal now, so he's not coming back. Now, illegal entry into the UK is actually an illegal act under the 1971 Immigration Act. Under existing law, you can get 4 years in jail for that. However, that is never applied because they just ship them straight into the asylum system, such as hotels. There's no working return agreement with Ethiopia. And so basically all of these people, they end up stuck in limbo, just being ferried around hotels, HMOs, until eventually it's decided that it's too much trouble and they're just going to give them indefinite leave to remain, and then they just disappear into the housing system somewhere. And then some of those will even get then turned into full citizens because they can say, well, look, I've had indefinite leave to remain for 5-10 years. What's going ahead?
That's how you become just as British as myself, Dan, or Beau.
Yes. And why are we in this situation? Prime contender is going to be the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights. Article 5 of the European Convention of Human Rights guarantees liberty unless detention is linked to imminent deportation. And since apparently we can't do that, there's no detention involved. UK courts have consistently shown they will go against the government on the few token efforts that they have made to remove people. And the prison capacity, we've got 88,000 places in the UK and they're all full. And they need the tiny and it is a tiny handful, it's like a few hundred spaces they have left at any given time, and they need those just in case anybody tweets something that Keir Starmer doesn't agree with. So, yes, that doesn't happen either. So in order to solve this, you might be thinking, oh, well, this is unsolvable. No. This is a political choice, and we can overturn this at any time we want. All it requires is withdrawing from the ECHR and passing legislation that expressly allows detention and instructs UK courts to disregard Strasbourg. That's all it takes.
We have parliamentary sovereignty in this country. Parliament, with enough of a majority, could write up any bill.
Yes.
And pass it.
Yes.
And it would be law.
And when there's one party that does enjoy a large majority,
Or such as Boris Johnson with an 80-seat majority, you might think.
Or Sir Keir Starmer.
Oh, indeed, yes.
He's got a massive majority.
Yes.
He could whip his party into passing such a bill.
Yeah, it could be done tomorrow. Could be done tomorrow. So we know that it's legally possible. All it requires is those 2 steps that I've already talked about.
It's also morally right.
Well, there is that. Yes, I mean, I didn't go there on the basis that it's a long time since this country has done anything morally right, and therefore it didn't occur to me to make that line of argument. But you are correct; that is actually an important point. Also, we should look at international precedents on this. So Australia runs an offshore detention processing camps. They use a couple of islands for it. This is one of them, Nauru. I think I'm getting that right. Now, that is off the coast of Australia, and to give you some sense of how far, I might need to zoom out a bit. Bear with me. There we go.
There it is.
Now, anybody who tries to get into Australia gets shipped off there. You're welcome to try and swim back. None of them do. Now, that is quite... And apparently in Australia, that is a completely... I mean, it's just non-political point. Even the lefties don't try and argue against this. That is thoroughly sensible. Before I tell you my solution,
Although, just to quickly say, Australia is still flooded with legal migrants.
Well, there is that, yes. Okay. But at least they got that element of it out the way. I also thought, before I give you my solution, I might just quickly tell you the process if you or I were to try and illegally enter Ethiopia. So we would be processed by the Refugees and Return Service of Ethiopia, the RSS. We would be held under the Immigration Proclamation number 354/2003, where making an illegal entry would result in fines and custodial sentences. And as British nationals, we could be forcibly returned to the UK. They would cuff us, put us on a flight, and the UK authorities would cooperate and take receivership of us at the other end. So it works that way round.
Sounds pretty reasonable.
Yes.
How many cases are there of native Brits attempting
but I suspect,
to illegally enter Ethiopia?
Oh, it must be a terrible problem over there.
I suspect it's not a huge number, but the point remains there are intact procedures to sort it out if it's the other way, which is worth bearing in mind. So my key point in this is, look, this is a political choice. And I think they're doing it because if they can keep us on the 50,000 people that arrive by small boats, we're not looking at the 100,000 people who come on the back of a lorry, or the people who overstay their visas, or the 1 million+ people that come perfectly legally because the Home Office stamps a bit of paper for them, and then they just decide, oh yeah, we're never going back again. And
let's bring over our entire extended family as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Or we're going to take sick Palestinian children, and then after they've been here for like an hour, they can then say, oh, well, my family to join me, and then their family can join them, and so on and so on.
But how would the NHS function without all of them? Yes.
Well, the proportion of immigrants as patients in the NHS is higher than the proportion of staff, so...
That can't be right.
Yes, well, you would think so, listening to the narrative, wouldn't you? So what's my solution on this? Well, I like this Nauru thing. I give you St. Helena's. Now, that is a lovely little island. It's got some historical significance, this one, hasn't it, Beau?
Yeah.
We kept a short Frenchman there once, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right.
The Corsican monster.
Yes.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
So there we go.
So it has been used as a type of prison island before.
So it's in the right neighbourhood. Actually, I'll better zoom back into it so I can give you my solution. Now, this is a UK territory, so we can do what we want with it. No further international treaties need to be put together on this. And what do I have in mind? What I have in mind is kind of military spec tents, camp beds, barbed wire, maybe a few heating units if we're feeling generous, a couple of shipping containers put down to store bulk dried food goods, maybe a couple of watchtowers as a perimeter, maybe a couple of toilet blocks, we've got to be nice, A couple of canteens, again, in shipping containers.
Big trench.
Well, you could do, but I'm going to be nice.
I want to make it feel homely
nice
for them.
It's the best you get at Glastonbury is a giant cesspit, don't you?
And people pay, what, like 800 quid to go to Glastonbury or whatever it is?
I feel sorry for the normal law-abiding citizens of St Helena.
Well, that's why
I guess we'd have to move them back. We have to move them
that's why I stressed the point about barbed wire and watchtowers.
Okay.
Now, everything I've described there, I've done the numbers. The capex for what I'm talking about is something between 40 to 80k per person.
There's still loads.
It is, but when you put that into, let me give an example, right? Let's take just this bit in the middle. You see that bit in the road there? So let's just like that. Okay. So that bit there, no one's using it. Middle of the island. That's about 200 acres. You could get 80,000 immigrants in that at a density of, because I went around the edges, measured the edges, worked out the volume. The army, when they're deploying people to theatres, they maintain about 10 square metres per person. So you could get 80,000 immigrants on that. And for the capex of 3 billion, you could set up a fully functional camp there. Now, you might think that's an awful lot. That's half what we're spending now. And you'd have a fully functional camp.
And fewer white children sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Most importantly.
Well, there is that. And our army engineers could easily pull that off in 6 months. Easily. No international treaties, just pass those 2 laws that I've already talked about, which anyone with a majority could do tomorrow. And there you go.
Do you reckon Serco would be happy with that contract?
I would give it to the army myself, rather than Serco, because they're traitors. So there you go, 80,000 people. Now, that is not going to house all of them, but what happens if you round up all of those illegal immigrants and everybody who's arrived by boat and said, right, you're off to a military camp in St Helena's, 99% of them would self-deport immediately.
You think?
Yes. Maybe a few would be like, oh, I'll just take the free bunk accommodation in St Helena's. But even then, this place has regular flights to South Africa.
I think a lot of them would sort of disappear into the general population of Britain.
Well, there is a whole.
But anyway,
there was a whole thing. I mean, imagine the sort of TV escapades you could have following around British ICE agents. Or you could deputise, local base lads to go round rounding them up. There's lots of things you could do on that.
You could get Baz Force out in action.
Yes. And the other thing I like about the St Helena's option is that I want to put, to be clear, I do want to put barbed wire around it so it doesn't inconvenience the 4,000 people that's living there. But the other thing I noticed is there are around 4,000 immigration lawyers, well, immigration advisors, to make it a little bit more broad, in the UK. Now, they're obviously going to need to go out there as well. And it would be interesting to see what happens to a society when the population is 50% immigration lawyers. What kind of society would that be?
We don't want to break up the lawyer-client relationship.
No. It's
that would be inhumane.
It's important that they stay close. And maybe some of the judges who like this sort of thing.
I have a feeling it would begin to resemble Haiti.
Well, we don't know. We've never tried that experiment of a 50% immigration lawyer location.
Which circle of hell do you most reckon it would resemble?
Yes, it would do wonders for, and look, this is St Helena's property, so there you go. If you're an immigration lawyer listening to this and you're thinking you don't like this, look, you get perfectly reasonable little bungalows there. Look, this is all fine. There we go. Let's click on one of these. That was it was a bit slow. But you get these charming little properties in St Helena's. They're dead cheap. Whatever this one, 170k. Peanuts. You sell your £2 million Islington flat. You're gonna have one of these. Bit of money on the side. Should work out perfectly. Build some extra houses. Immigration lawyers like going to swanky restaurants. So the St Helena's economy will get a massive injection. The point I'm kind of making here is that when reform comes in, solving this problem can be done within a year tops. No reason why this cannot be knocked in the head within a year. the moment you get in a government that has the will to do so. And if they don't do it, they're a massive scam. If they do it, I think we need to take their hats off to them.
Who are the men that pig for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellaheen, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellaheen condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.lotuseaters.com.